Are you overwhelmed, frazzled, or anxious? Grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper, and I'll have you feeling calm and peaceful before you know it. I'm Lisa Crow, a certified Zentangle teacher, and I'm going to teach you a lovely tangle today. So this, just as I get started, I'm going to do an orb here. It's very much off centre. You could try to have yours in more of the centre if you like. You could put yours more off centre. But this that I'm doing today is inspired by the International Day of Zentangle event that happened last week. When International Day of Zentangle project went out, Maria created Huggins that was in the round basically, but it was created with the start of it was kind of a combination of, if you're familiar with Zentangle, you'll know the tangles well and spoken. So I'm kind of doing the radio thing that Maria did last week, except my initial lines here are more like Fengle, another tangle. So they're simply just lines that are all curved, like they're these ones, the way I've done them just now. I've also done this previously as more of like an S shape, but just now the way I've done them, they're like a backwards S when you consider like joining in at this orb here, backwards S or a backwards C shape, depending on where you're stopping that. And we're going to create some orbs at the tops of these Fengle arms, or whatever you want to call them. These can be different sizes. It's actually maybe more fun and interesting if you do them different sizes rather than all have them be the same size. And once you have those orbs done, we're going to create an orb that's about halfway between these two and somewhat higher. And these orbs also don't have to be consistent in size, but it's better if they're higher up than I've found. It's they have to be higher up than the previous orbs that we've done and about halfway along. And then this one, I'm going to imagine this one's, and that one's a way off. So when we are joining these ones together, I'll join it with ones that you can actually see where the next one is. So we're going to join these orbs, one that's coming off the Fengle and the new orb, we're going to join them with a backwards C shape. And just do that all the way around. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to get another piece of paper here. You don't have to do this. I wasn't going to bother doing it myself, but in case it helps other people, it's worth showing this tip. So I could just imagine where my new orb is going to be and just draw a line that would meet where my imaginary orb is going to be. But you could also place another piece of paper where you have the orb. So you're actually aiming for something that you can see rather than an imaginary thing, you know, if that helps you. So I'm going to come round to this one and I'm going to draw another orb there. And then that would join up there. So we've done those ones now, and we can just do the ones that are needing to be connected on the other side. You could obviously do these bits, you could connect them using another piece of paper as well, if you were preferring to do it that way. I hope that's helpful and that I haven't just confused you. So what we're going to do now is to add auras either side of each Huggins shape. So we're going to aura the Fengle line and then aura the line opposite And do that in every single space. Don't really need this piece of paper anymore, so I'll just move that to the side. So now, what am I going to do for my filler? I think I'm going to put doodah in here. So when I do this tangle, I'm just drawing a line from one side to the other, but the line doesn't quite meet the line on the other side, and you're doing that in both directions, you know, it's going from one side to the other alternately. And I usually start this tangle halfway along, and then I turn it around the other way so that it's facing me. Just trying to, I don't think these are consistently spaced, but just be fairly consistent in the width that you have between one doodah stroke and the next. This is one of these tangles, doodah, where it's such a simple stroke. There's not much ink really in comparison with other tangles. There's not a lot of inking in, as in colouring. But once you start putting all the different parallel lines, or aura lines I should say, because we're talking in Zentangle terms, it fills up really quite quickly. I think I'm probably going to do, there's a variation of doodah where you ink in the bottoms of the doodah tangle, and I think I'm probably going to come back and do that because I feel like I want a little bit more interest. But I'm going to do all of the different sections first and then go back in. Oops. There are so many different fillers that you could use to do this. I mean, when I get to the end of this video, I'll show you all the variations that I've done so far, but that is far from exhaustive because there are many other ones that I could have gone for. I think this might be quite nice to have loads of orbs in the centre, and you can maybe make them into gemstones. That would look quite cool. So what I'm going to do now is that where the tangle looks like it's disappearing under another bit of the tangle, I'm going to add some graphite there to create a sense of shadow. I'm probably going to add more ink eventually, but I'm just going to do this aspect of it just now. I'm going right over the line with the graphite here, but never mind. It's just because I'm hurrying. Of course, at home you're going to not be so hurried with it. Just you take your time. There's absolutely no rush with the Zentangle method. Just going to make sure I've got graphite all the way around that centre orb, and then smooth that out to create like a sense of a shadow. So that is starting to look really, really cool already. What I'm going to do now, just to show you an idea that you can do for the Fengle arms, is that I'm going to put some Knightsbridge along here. It's just basically alternating squares. Every other one is inked in. You could do that on the opposite side in the Huggins as well. I may do that in the video, I may do it later, or I may just keep it so that Knightsbridge is only on the Fengle. I don't know, there's different options. I'll just do the Fengle bit just now and see what I feel like once that's done. I think that looks quite cool already though, having that differentiation of the, you know, having the Knightsbridge, it makes that Fengle pop out just a little bit more, and I think that's really fun. I've now got to the stage where I'm filming this video for the third time, because the first time it was too noisy outside. When I played it back, there was people doing some work in our street, so I did take two. And then I decided that the video that I was doing the second time around, I thought actually it's not, I'm still going to finish the tile and I'll probably quite like it when it's finished, but I thought I think it's just a bit too busy to teach it on YouTube the way that I had it. So I thought I'm going to make it again as a bit of a simpler filler pattern. So this is the third round, and I no longer remember whether I've asked in this video or the other videos whether or not you personally attended International Day of Zentangle live. I certainly asked the first couple of rounds of the video. But if I haven't already asked in this version, I would love it if you could let me know in the comments. I was there live, and there was like 1,500 people, more than 1,500 people there. It's so lovely to think that all of those tanglers around the world were together at the same time, sitting in peace wherever they were in the world doing their tangling. It was just so lovely to think that. Such a lovely thing to be doing together. So for now, I am just going to leave the Fengle as the stripy thing, but I probably will later add the stripes to the other side as well. Just for the video not being too long, I'm going to keep it a bit shorter. So the variation, you'll have seen me, this is definitely not even the second time that I've done doodah. I've done it potentially 3 times at least on my channel before, but when I do this tangle, I usually add a bit of rounding at the bottoms where the line doesn't quite go from the opposite side into the border. You just basically ink in there, and it just gives it a completely different look. By all means, leave it the way that I've got it here already in the other sections if you prefer that, because different people like different things, don't they? Variety is the spice of life. You might prefer yours a little simpler, and that's totally cool. The day has absolutely flown in today. Feels like I just dropped Isla off about 2 hours ago at my mum and dad's house, but it's a lot longer ago than that. I'll need to go and leave to collect her again. If you were watching my video last week, you'll have seen that I was talking about my driving phobia. So I had gone back to my mum's, well, my mum and dad's, at the end of the Monday, and I collected Isla again, and just found it's not miraculous at all, but it's just amazing how much I had built this journey up in my head to be scary. And I have done the journey before. It's not a brand new journey, it's just that I hadn't done it on my own before, and Bob, my husband, kept on saying that I could do it, and I very much disagreed with him. And then I thought, no, I need to do something about this now, because I'm just holding myself back. And I thought also I'm potentially sending out a message to Isla that if you don't do something, don't do it. And I very much don't want to send out that message. I want Isla to know that she can do anything she sets her mind out to if she puts in the effort. So anyway, I did the journey again, and this morning, and honest to goodness, easy peasy. I'm not even fazed about it. Used to be that I would get anxious just thinking about getting in the car, just visualising myself being in the driving seat, but now it's like, yeah, okay, I'll get Isla, and it doesn't bother me, which is brilliant. But also it feels like a waste of all that time that I wasn't driving, but it is what it is. I was talking last week about how I had done like a meditation, a hypnosis video on YouTube, and I also did some tapping. I don't know if you've heard of EFT before, but basically are talking through what your issue is, and you're saying, even although I have this fear of driving, for example, and you start out, you're tapping on the sides of your hand, and then you're tapping on your forehead, your eye, the underneath your eye, and you go through all these different bits called the meridian points. And I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I did use that last week, and maybe that's helped me with my driving thing. It's really interesting how these things can help. this looks really striking. I think it might be quite cool as well if you were going to complete this and you did some of it in different colours maybe. Oops. That looks really cool. So I'm just going to add some more shade where we've got these bits of Huggins overlapping one another. And I'm going to add some graphite at the other end as well. I think if I weren't doing this full video, I'm trying not to take up too much of your time, I would maybe do gemstones in each of these orbs. So I'll maybe demonstrate how to do one, and then you can decide whether or not you want to have some on yours. I don't need to do any there. So I think you could go in with a layout pencil, which is the kind of latest addition to the Zentangle tools kit. A layout pencil is just, it's got lead in it that's blacker and softer, so it's much more effective when it comes to the shading. It can look a lot more dramatic when your tile is complete and you've done all of your tangling. Just now I'm just going to keep it just as the way that I have it, just to let you know you can make it a bit more dramatic if you would like. So just gone over the centres of each of these Huggins bits with white pastel pencil, just to kind of make the middle bit seem as if it's kind of getting more of the light on it. It's quite a subtle thing, but it's quite powerful. And what I quite like to do as well is to restate some of these lines, but what I'm going to do is this centre line. I would basically do this technique for every single tangle. In fact, you know, I will just complete all of these gemstones, because if you want to skip through this, then that's totally cool, but you might want to just get to the end of the video and actually see it finished, rather than me saying, well, I'm going to go off camera now and finish it elsewhere. I may feel cheated if I don't finish it properly. I won't be offended if you skip through any bits that you find a bit tedious. So I've just gone around the outside in my darkest colour, which in this context today, this is a Faber-Castell Polychromos pencil, and it's a blue violet 137. These are the pencils that I use all the time, like as in these exact shades. I've got these purple ones, and then I've got 3 that are kind of more of a bluish, greenish, well, teal basically. I seem to do those colour combinations more than any other. It's no coincidence that those colours are my favourites. The purple especially. Do love a bit of purple. So I'm just adding the lightest of the shades now. So the first round that you're doing of these orbs, you're going fairly lightly. And you know, the darkest pencil, you're not really dragging that colour in. It's more just for the very edge. Just a bit of an outline. And do the other ones. So a bit hurried, but that's the way that I usually would do my gemstones. And then I come in with the Arteza Everblend art marker, and I just use that to blend those colours together a little bit more. Make them look a bit less like there's pencil lines and whatnot. I try to blend from the darkest in. And I think that kind of darkens that up a little bit. And then I need to put my brighter highlights over on the opposite side of where I've left that white. I think this jelly roll might actually be on its way out because it's not very bright. Do it for, it's better than no jelly roll at all, isn't it? So one other step that you can do is to retrace your original lines, because as you may know from other videos that I've done, those lines can get a bit faded or muted when you put down graphite or pastel pencil. So I'm just emphasising those a little bit more. I'm not going on every single line, just in this one in particular, I'm just doing the Fengle shapes and the shapes opposite. Now I've realised that there's an orb that I didn't actually colour there, so I'll do that in a minute. Oops. That is the downside of inking in these lines, if you sometimes like go a wee bit off course. That doesn't matter. It's only art. I say only art, you know, it's only pen and paper. Don't want not to underestimate the impact that art can make on people's lives. So when it comes to this little guy here, that won't take long to finish because it's quite a small orb. I'm still going to do 2 layers. a little bit of the jelly roll for good measure. And then of course we have to put in our chop. So I think I'll put my chop just here. So we have that for today. And this is the one that I was just working on before. I think you can see it's got potential for sure, and I think I'm going to like it when it's finished, but I just thought maybe for being on camera it might just be a bit confusing for people as to where they need to be shading and putting their graphite and whatnot, so I'm going to go back to that off camera. This one, I really liked this one. It's a bit more of a simple filler, but it's really nice, and you can see how different you can have the tangle look if you fill it in versus not fill it in, versus, you know, well, this one's fully inked in with gold, whereas this one's a bit of more of a textured pattern. This tile here is the one that I did for the International Day of Zentangle, so you can see how these lines here are more like the well lines, the spoken lines, you know, whereas the one that I was doing this afternoon is definitely more of an S curve, backwards S curve. And then this is the one that I did this morning and then played it back and realised that the noise outside was too loud. So this one I've filled it in with moon pie, and then instead of putting gemstones in the orbs here, I've done the screw heads like Zentangle sometimes do. And I also put some pastel pencil over the top of the tan paper and just kind of gave it a bit more of an antique paper look. So there are lots and lots of different options here. You could do it quite like the way that Zentangle did it in terms of doing the spoken shape initially before you join all your Huggins together. You could have, you know, some other patterns all together coming out of the sides here. You could do aura around the whole thing. So many different things that you can do. But I really hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I'm glad that it was a case of third time lucky, because I am not filming it again. So yes, thank you so much for joining along today. Give it a like if you've enjoyed it and if it's actually helped you to feel calm and relaxed, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Have a good week. Bye.